virtuous women, a virtuous woman.
Welcome back to another episode of the Virtuous Woman Show. We are so delighted to be hosting you this evening. My name is Sheila Juma, and I'm very happy to be hosting this show tonight. And wherever you are, as we always say, please go grab someone, call someone, tell them the Virtuous Show is on, let them know that they should tune in, because I'm telling you today is going to be an amazing show. We have on set with us an amazing, beautiful young lady. Her name is Shiphrah. Quite the unique name, but I love it. And we'll be talking about cross-cultural marriages. Now, what does that mean? It's not racial, it's not transracial, it's cross-cultural. So meaning one culture or one country marrying into another country. And this is her story, and we're going to hear about it, how they met, how they handled issues that may have come along the way with having a cross-cultural marriage. And I'm sure it's going to be a great blessing to you as you watch. So stay tuned, don't touch that dial, and enjoy this show. So karibu sana.
Asante.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for welcoming me.
Absolutely.
I'm humbled.
Please tell us who you are, your name, where you're from, what you do.
I'm Shiphrah Msumba, the adopted name.
Msumba is your husband?
Yes,
okay.
my husband's name. But on my ID, it is Nahurira.
Nahurira.
Yes, Nahurira.
That sounds like a Luya name.
It sounds like
a Luya name.
No, that is from the western side of Uganda.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm from western Uganda, from a tribe of Banyankole.
Okay.
Yeah, so in most cases when people hear of Uganda, and they always think people from there are Baganda.
Yes.
Yeah, like when we say I'm from Uganda, so you're Baganda?
Yeah, you speak Baganda? Is it Luganda?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't speak Luganda, though I can speak it because I studied from Central.
Okay.
Yeah, so there is a difference between the cultures in the Central region and the cultures in the Western region.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
How many tribes
in
do you have in Uganda?
About 56.
More than we do?
Yeah, about
wow.
56. Yeah.
And they all speak different languages,
yes,
different cultures.
Languages, different cultures.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I should actually look that up.
You should come.
And
to
I
our
should
place.
come.
Yes.
I've been to Uganda, I think, once, and it was a beautiful, very green place. Evergreen.
I usually tell people there is not so much of a big difference in Kenya, just that you guys don't have matoke plantations everywhere. You know, even in towns, we have to have the plantations there because we eat matoke
a lot.
Yeah.
Yes. Is that like your staple food?
The Baganda people, it's the staple food for the Baganda people. Apparently, they don't grow it as much as the Western people do. So the irony is there.
Yeah.
It's their staple food, but they don't grow it as much. But yeah, for a Muganda person to be called a Muganda, they need to have it
matoke.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been there and it's very beautiful, very green. You should, if you haven't been to Uganda, please look it up or visit better.
They should come and visit.
Yes.
us.
Yes. So beautiful, Shiphrah.
Yes.
You're married?
Yes, I'm married to one man.
Yes.
Yes, and we are blessed to have a baby boy.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Wonderful.
He's turning 1 and 2 years this August.
Yeah, amazing. So you're a mother.
We've been married for 3 years now. We are actually having our anniversary on 26th. So
of this month.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
3 years is not a small achievement. It is by God's grace.
Yes.
So you're married to a Kenyan.
Yes.
And you're a Ugandan.
Yes.
How did you meet? Where did you meet?
Well, our meeting was a blessing, I can say, in disguise. We used to go to the same school.
Okay.
So he was not studying here in Kenya after the 2007 clashes and stuff like that. He had to redo 1 year, and then now we met. We had a chance. Otherwise, he would have been ahead of me.
You would have
Probably
never met.
I would have never met him.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so that came like a blessing. So when he came over to Uganda, we became friends. We actually were studying in the same class from senior 1 up to senior 6. So
senior 1 is like Form 1?
Yes.
Okay.
From Form 1 up to Form 6. So we were together for 6 years. But we actually started dating in the year 2013.
Who noticed who first?
I think I can't be sure because he was my friend. He was my very good friend.
Okay.
he knew the guys that would come to me and say, you know,
You would go to tell him?
as in we were that close.
Hey, okay.
Yeah, so he knew. Actually, others used him as a channel to reach me, and he would bring
Quite
those
the
letters
story.
faithfully. But yeah, so in 2013, that is when we actually started dating, and he became serious. He always told me, oh, I love you, you're a nice lady, I love you, and I knew, he's just my friend.
Friendly love.
Yeah, friendly love. So he was like, no, wait, I actually love you. So that is when it dawned to me, like, okay, somebody has been stalking me. He actually knows everything, so there's nothing really to hide about myself. Yeah, and it has been beautiful, I think, from then.
So he's there pretending to channel other people's messages. He's just
And I think in his heart, he was saying, I pray
He's
this
a
doesn't
strong
go,
man.
you know.
So he's Kenyan, you're Ugandan.
Yeah.
You started dating. When did you decide to get married?
Our dating, okay, by the time that we started dating in 2013, I had just gotten off a breakup, a very bad one. And I think that was a very good decision I made, yeah. So from Form 5, I actually thought I wouldn't go back to the same school after Form 4. So I knew probably we won't meet. And of course, I had, because he always told me, I love you, I love you, I had started actually thinking about it. But then I just needed to have the formal thing of, I love you for this.
Yes.
This is what
This is what you want.
my motive is.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to be your lifetime partner. So when we met in Form 5, he was happy that I came back to school. He was one of the people that called me to ask why I'm not in school yet. So I told him I'm still reconsidering whether I should come back or I should just branch and go do a certificate or something like that. Then he's like, no, you just need to come to A-level. A-level is a good thing. You need it.
He's telling you need me.
Yeah, so I went for Form 5, luckily, and we had a trip to my side now, the school, my primary school in Uganda, and we were in the same singing group, the school choir, and we were the leaders, both of us. So he told me, we now finally get to go and see where you grew up from. I'm like, yeah, everybody is going in my mind. So
nothing
everybody's
special.
Yeah, there's nothing really special because we had not started dating then. And on that same journey, that is when he said, I actually love you, and I really need to be with you for the rest of my life. And I felt betrayed because he was my friend.
Yeah, like what do you mean?
Yeah, like. And then later, after the trip, after we come back, and then now he tells me, I really want to ask you some things, and I don't know whether I am in the right position to ask you that, but we need to talk. So he asked me, who am I to you? And then I'm thinking, you're my friend.
My friend, yeah.
Yes, you're more than a brother, because I don't share most of the things that I share to my brother. And then he's like, okay, that's what I wanted to know. I'm like, okay. Now I cannot propose to myself. I cannot tell myself I love myself. I need to hear it coming from you, because I already predicted that this is what he wants to say. But then I wanted it to come from him. And then he disappeared for like 2 weeks. He was not coming to class, and we were sharing the same class, the same stream, doing almost the same combination, because most of the subjects we were sharing, I was doing biology and chemistry, I was doing the same, but now would branch, would do foods and nutrition, I would do agriculture.
So by this time, has he asked you to marry him?
No.
He hasn't?
He hasn't.
When did he ask you to marry him?
He didn't.
Oh.
So I asked him the following Sunday morning when we met. I asked him, will you marry me?
You asked him, Ugandan women.
So I asked him, will you marry me? And you see, we are in high school. He is a young boy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And
How old were
he's
you?
wondering, I think I was 17,
Where?
16.
What was I doing at 17?
17, 16. Then it's like, I think that was one of the things that made him run. Like, run for your life. Somebody asking you about marriage at this time, and with me, I was like, no, if I am to date somebody, it's going to be for marriage. I'm not dating for fun.
Yeah.
So he disappeared for like 2 weeks, and then he came back and told me, yes, I'm ready.
Wow. You are the one who asked your husband about. I don't know if I'll ever get over that. But Sasa, now when you came now to tell your parents, how did they take that?
Well, I knew it was not going to be easy because my parents and Kenyan men had a reputation.
Tell us what that reputation is.
1, heartbreakers. 2, cheats. 3, like every bad thing. Like every bad thing. We had scenarios of Kenyan men that had gotten in touch with Ugandan ladies, and they would never marry them. Some would actually leave them with children.
Oh, no.
So it was like as though every Kenyan man is that
That's
way.
so interesting, because probably the way they saw Kenyan men is the way we see Nigerian men.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So now when you told her.
I actually told them they knew him because there is a day they came to visit us at school, and they shared, because my brothers were singing with my husband in the same singing group. So they had lunch together. So they knew him. They knew him as a funny young boy, you know. So I'm like, that's the guy that is going to marry me. And they're like, wait, no, that can be a joke. And I remember my father asking me, oh, there are all these men in Uganda. Like, even leave alone Uganda, where we are.
Yeah.
You don't see a person that is, why?
Yeah, why a Kenyan?
And I'm like, to me, I think that time, my responses was more on what this guy means to me. He understands me. There's like, wait, have you given other people chances to understand you and they fail to? I'm like, I don't have to. I cannot position myself into men's ways for them to see me. And if he has recognized me and asked me out, then I am
and you love him.
Yeah, because I love him and he understands me, and he has everything that I need in a man. So why not? And he was like, "But you're still young." By then I was still at campus.
Yeah.
Then that was 2018. Then he was like, "No, you need to give it time," because I was not yet done with school, and like, I'm giving that to you to sleep over it, and that is my decision. So we had a long talk. I
can imagine.
A long talk for about 7 hours.
With your parents?
Yes.
About this Kenyan man?
And you know the surprising thing, because in African society, it's not like you discuss these things earlier on. So it is the time of marriage that you actually come to talk about this boy in your life. So it's not like you have a really good foundation of where to begin from.
This is the first time.
You just bump into it, and I think that is unfair at some point, because I would want my children to confide in me and tell me, you know, there's a girl I love, there's a boy I love.
That topic shouldn't be taboo in
it
your
shouldn't
house.
be that time when you're getting married that you're coming to, you know, to tell your parents. But that was it for me. And we had that long chat, and they were like, now, what tribe is he? What do they eat? What do they wear? Where does he come from? Which part of Kenya? Is he Kamba?
What about Kamba, man? Tell us what that thing is about. What do you mean?
I'm like, no, it's not Kamba. Is he Kikuyu? I'm like, no. Is he? I'm like, okay, he is a Luya. The father is Luya, the mother is Luo. So I'm like, they're like, he's not even only just Kenyan, he is an inter-tribe. Now, what are you bringing to us? How will we be communicating to him? How will we be communicating to their people? I'm like, you guys, you're worrying about
I'm really
much.
curious to know, is it that they were worried about cultural practices that the man is going to bring into your life that they are not familiar with? What was their worry?
I think one is because I was the only young girl left at home. We were born 3 girls. We lost one, so we were 2 remaining. And my elder sister was already married, so it was me that was left there. And you know, when you have one girl left, they want you to be as close, and then it is a whole big difference. Like you're going to a different country.
Yeah.
And somehow God made a way, and they had to accept.
And how did now the guy's parents receive you?
Now, my first time to come to see the parents of my husband, I was terrified.
I can imagine.
Because I didn't know how to handle them. I knew how to handle my
Your
husband.
parents. Okay.
But I didn't know how to handle his parents. Even when he reassured me and told me, they are okay, they're Christians, you are Christian, so there's nothing to worry about. And there's that fear of meeting in-laws that was in me. And I remember my father-in-law asking my husband, it seems like your girlfriend needs to go and visit the washroom.
Oh, because you looked that nervous?
I was shaking literally.
Oh no.
And one thing that obviously we do over there, we kneel a lot.
Yes.
So when I got into the house, I knelt. Actually, my mother-in-law did not allow me to kneel, so she just grabbed me and hugged me.
Oh, wow.
And she was lovely and warm. Then now I was wondering, the dad is not here in the situation, so he will find me seated. And then I had to kneel, and that made him feel awful, because I think it's not something that is very common here. So he was like, get up.
Get up, yeah.
You know, like, I don't understand really the Kiswahili by that time.
Yeah.
So I was very, very afraid I don't even know what language I'm going to use to speak to them. And then, of course, they would talk in whatever things they were saying, and I wouldn't understand. So later on, that is when you ask, and then they fill you in, and then you're like, okay.
So how did you communicate with them? Were you speaking English?
English,
okay.
yes. Yeah, my mother-in-law was good at English. She's good at English. Even my father-in-law is good at English. So we used English to communicate that time. That is how we met, and of course,
That's pretty nice.
Apart from the kneeling part, there was nothing really so much of a difference.
Yeah.
Just that now when they would switch to Kiswahili,
You would get lost a little bit.
Yeah.
So now that you're married, what are some of the cultural, we call them culture shock. What are some of the things that you find in Kenya that are like shocked you in your marriage? Yeah.
One thing that really, the Luyas have a culture of when you give birth to your child, the first shave is supposed to be done by the mother-in-law, right?
So your husband's mom?
Yes, my husband's mom. That was not so much of a shock, but it was, because that never happened. Like, you give birth to a child and
you take them to a bubble in time.
Anything. Yeah, so you do it yourself, but that was one of the things that shocked me. The other thing that that I've not really gotten so much of shocks from my parents, but from what I hear other people.
Okay, tell us about that.
There are people who, especially when somebody important has died in your place, like my aunties, my husband's aunties, when their dad passed, they had to shave everything, like drop everything. If you had locks or anything, you literally have zero hair on your head, and that was shock to me. I asked my parents, of course, and they're like, yeah, that is culture, but for us, we are Christians. So
wow, that's beautiful.
We don't really follow much of the cultures. So I think that is one of the things that has really helped a lot for me not to get any culture shocks, because they're Christian, and the Christian overpowers the culture. Yeah.
I love that. You mentioned kneeling. We know Ugandans for kneeling.
Yes.
Yeah, Kenyan women can never.
But I think there are people that can kneel here.
They can, eh?
Yes.
But do you still kneel to your husband?
Apparently, the kneeling culture, for the culture, it is in the central Uganda. In my culture, it is more of hugging.
Okay.
So we do a lot of huggings. The kneeling would now be to the people that are in the state of my father-in-law, my mother-in-law. I cannot just go there and, hug them.
Yes.
Because, I mean, it's odd. So for them, I would kneel. But right now they don't want me to do that. They feel like, no.
Yeah.
You need for God,
Yeah.
not us.
You need for God.
You need for God, not us. We are human beings, you know.
Is there any time where, because I like what you said about being a Christian and Christianity and the Bible and God overpowers culture. Is there any point in time during your marriage or during all these things where you've had to put God first? You've had to get to a point where you're like, okay, I know culture says this and this is what should happen, but my Christian values do not agree with this culture, so I will not. Is there any situation that you faced like that?
Not so much of a clash, but for example, like in my culture, when you're getting married, you're supposed to stay in a room for about 6 months. 6 months, like you're being there, fed, you eat.
Before you get married?
Sleep, yes.
Okay.
So it's like a beautification time for you.
Okay.
They want you to gain weight and look good. And by the time you're getting out as a bride, you're spotless. And that I didn't do because of I was just from school, and then Sharia house. Sharia house did us a big mess.
Same.
So they kept on tossing us here. So I didn't really have time to sit at home. I think I had like a week at home before I got married. Yeah, so I given away, because for us we have like different functions. We have introduction, then we have giveaway, and then now the wedding. So for us, there are 3 functions culturally. One called giveaway, where you're given away. So before that giveaway, you're supposed to be in a room for like 6 months. I'm like,
so you didn't do that?
Yeah, what am I going to be doing in a room for 6 months? And I think that was one of the things that would have been really hard for me, because I'm a person who loves going out.
Yeah.
So that saved me a lot.
Yeah.
Sharia house did credit for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us about I know you're married 3 years.
Yes.
So you're still in your early years of marriage, but tell us about, as you started your marriage, any challenges that you may have faced because of cross-culture. Is there anything that you faced which was like, oh?
Not really. One thing that I really got shocked about is when my parents came to visit, and we had bought chicken to prepare. So they actually came with the chicken. So they say, go slaughter the hen, and I'm thinking, how do I do this?
They asked you to slaughter? Oh, wow, okay.
How do I do this? And I'm like, I was open to my mother-in-law. I'm like, no, you just have to help me on this one. I'll do next time. And she's a very sweet lady, so she helped me with that. Then now on the cooking, I realized they put the feet, the feet and the head. That had never happened. I had never seen it happen. So that I was like, okay, this actually happens. It's not a rumor. It actually happens. Yeah, so there's not really so much of the shocks, but yeah, foods, there are things that shocked me. I had never seen murenda.
Murenda. You don't have murenda in Uganda?
I think it's somewhere in the north.
Yeah.
So with my culture, like that's not something that's slimy.
Yeah.
So I had to escape somehow.
So do you cook for your husband, Miranda?
No, I don't. Okay. We had to sit down and
say, this one I can do.
This one, no. Because really, and it's not like he really so much enjoys it. He can eat it once in a while, but not something that he fancies.
Okay.
So it was a savior to me.
Yeah. And what about stigma? Have you faced any stigma being that you are married to a Kenyan and your husband is married to a Ugandan?
Back from home, yes.
Back from home or even in Kenya?
Here in Kenya, not really, because I think that's the social group that I have is of people that we go to church with. So it's not so much of the culture impact with it. But back from home, the people who actually ask me, how do you guys handle it? How Kenyan? How? You know, like...
Hey, Kenyans, we need to do a better job.
Kenyan, but yeah. For people that really knew us back from school, they know things are okay because we were friends then. I think marriage becomes quite hard, even culturally, if this person is not your friend.
Yeah.
Because then you're learning new things that you never knew. But when you marry a person that you're fond of, then things go smooth.
Wow. You mentioned you have a baby.
Yes.
How old now? 2?
He's getting 2
2.
years. Yeah.
He's going to grow up as a Ugandan, a Kenyan, a
Yeah.
Kenya Ugandan. How do you intend to help him to grow up in terms of culture? Like he needs to be aware, okay, my mom is from Uganda, I have a heritage in Uganda, I have a whole family in Uganda, and I have this same thing in Kenya. How do you intend to balance that for him and to teach him?
Well, we trust God that it is going to be smooth. One thing that my husband actually, because you see, like for him, he is Luo. So for him, it was quite hard for him to juggle between the 2 cultures. You cannot speak Luo, you cannot speak Luya, so you're in the mix. You can hear them, but speaking them is quite challenging. So we felt that it is okay for him to have time. As he grows, definitely he's going to meet the people that he needs to get in touch with. And since most of the times he goes to the grandmothers and talks with them, somehow.
Grandmother in Luya land?
Yeah, no, here.
Oh, in Kenya?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, in Kenya. So for him, it is easy for him to learn the languages here in Kenya. But now coming to the languages in Uganda, unless it is me speaking on phone to those people,
that's the only way he will hear.
Yeah, he will hear that. But at least the basics. How are you? How was your night? How are you doing? At least those ones.
Yeah, he's able to do that. That's beautiful. Unfortunately, our time is up.
All right.
Time flies so fast. But what I want you to look at that camera and talk to people. What would you want people to know about cross-cultural marriages? People who are in that marriage or people who are outside looking in?
Now, my I wouldn't say really advice, because I think it's more of an opinion on cross-cultural marriages is find the right person. Take time to learn them. And marriage is full of compromises. If you realize that your culture is so much of a big difference with the person that you're getting married to or you're interacting with for marriage, then compromise where it is possible. Compromise as much as you can so that you make this work. I mean, love overpowers even culture. And if you have Christianity in it, it will definitely balance out. What I really treasure much is friendship. Be friends before you actually even think of getting married, because it will save you a lot. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for coming, Shiphrah.
Thank you.
We are really grateful, and we wish you the very best in your marriage
Thank
for the
you.
rest
And
of your life.
you too, by
Thank
the way.
you. Thank you.
We look forward to seeing you coming for the anniversaries.
Yes,
You should
I
host
can't
us
wait.
on Virtuous Woman so that we can celebrate the anniversary together.
Thank you so much,
Yes.
and God bless you.
God bless
that
you
was it
too.
for today. I'm sure you've had a good time. We've had some good laughs, and we'll see you same time, same place next time. Have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.
I wanna find a virtuous